The day my dad left, he didn't even slam the door. That's what I remember most. No shouting. No drama. Just quiet. Like he had already left long before his body followed. I was standing in the hallway, pretending not to listen, but every word hit like a punch. I can't do this anymore. That was it. No explanation. No apology. Just a sentence. That broke everything. And then, minutes later, I watched him walk out with a suitcase, past me, like I was just another piece of furniture in a house he didn't want anymore. He didn't even look at me. Not once. And here's the part that messed me up for years. He didn't leave to be alone. He left for something better. A new woman. A new house. A new life. A perfect family. At least, that's what everyone said. She's amazing. They're so happy. He finally found what he was missing. What he was missing. We were right there. Me. My mom. We were his family. But apparently, not the right one. For years, we got nothing. No calls. No birthdays. No I'm sorry. Just silence, and occasional updates from people who thought they were being helpful. They just bought a big house. His new wife is pregnant. You should see how happy he looks now. Every word felt like a reminder that he didn't just leave. He replaced us. And I told myself something I never said out loud. If he ever comes back, I won't open that door. I believed that. I lived by that. Until one night, a knock echoed through my house. Slow, heavy, deliberate. And when I opened the door, everything I thought I knew about his perfect life shattered in seconds. Because standing there wasn't just my dad. And they didn't come to apologize. They came because they had no other choice. And what they said next changed everything. I almost didn't open the door. Something about that knock felt wrong. Too slow. Too heavy. Like whoever was on the other side wasn't just visiting. They were carrying something with them. Still, I opened it. And the moment I did, I froze. My dad looked older. Not just older, worn down. The man who once walked out like he had everything figured out now stood there like he'd lost something he couldn't replace. But what really caught me off guard wasn't him. It was them. A woman stood slightly behind him, his wife. The perfect one. Except she didn't look perfect. Her eyes were tired. Red. Like she hadn't slept in days. And next to her a kid. Maybe 8 or 9 years old. Clutching her arm like the world was about to fall apart. For a second, nobody spoke. We just stood there, staring at each other like strangers who shared a secret no one wanted to say out loud. Then my dad finally broke the silence. Can we come in? That was it. No, how are you? No, I missed you. Just, can we come in? Like he had the right. Like he never walked out. Every part of me wanted to say no. To slam the door in his face. To give him a taste of what silence feels like. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way his voice cracked. Or the way that kid kept looking at me like I was some kind of last hope. So I stepped aside. Big mistake. Because the second they walked in, I realized something was very wrong. They didn't look like a happy family visiting. They looked like people running out of time. And when I finally asked the question I had been holding back, why are you here? My dad didn't answer. His wife did. And what she said next made my stomach drop. She didn't sit down. Didn't even take off her shoes. She just stood there, gripping her bag like it was the only thing holding her together. Then she looked at me, really looked this time, and said, we didn't know where else to go. Now we wanted to see you. Now we came to fix things. Just we had no one else. I felt something twist in my chest. Not sympathy. Something sharper. Try again, I said. Why are you here? My dad opened his mouth, but she cut him off. He lost his job. The words dropped heavy. He's been out of work for almost a year. I blinked. This was the man who left us for a better life, and now he couldn't even hold it together? But she wasn't done. We had savings, but then the house. She stopped herself. Too late. What about the house? I asked. Silence. My dad looked down. The kid squeezed her arm tighter. And then, as she said it, we lost it. Just like that. Gone. The big house everyone talked about. The one that was supposed to prove he made the right choice. Gone. I should have felt something. Justice. Satisfaction. Closure. But all I felt was confusion. Because this wasn't the story I imagined. There was no dramatic downfall. No clear moment where everything collapsed. Just pieces falling apart quietly. And now? I asked. She hesitated. Like whatever came next was worse. We've been staying with friends, she said. But that's not an option anymore. Of course it wasn't. People love you when you're doing well. Not when you show up with baggage. And suddenly, I understood. They weren't here to reconnect. They were here because they were out of options. Because I was the last door left. My jaw tightened. So what do you want from me? This time my dad answered. And the moment he did, I realized this wasn't just about losing a job or a house. It was something much deeper. Something they had been hiding the entire time. My dad finally looked up. For the first time since he walked in, he actually looked at me. Not past me. Not through me. At me. And his voice? It wasn't confident. It wasn't proud. It was small. We need a place to stay. There it was. No build-up. No apology. Just the truth. I let out a quiet laugh. You left us, I said. You disappeared for years, and now you want to live here? He didn't argue. Didn't defend himself. He just nodded. That silence. It said everything. I was ready to say no. Ready to shut it down. Then the kid spoke. Please. Just one word. And somehow, it hit harder than anything else. I looked at him. Not as their kid, but as someone who didn't choose any of this. And suddenly, it wasn't so simple. I turned back to my dad. How long? Just until we figure things out, he said quickly. Too quickly. I didn't trust it. Fine, I said. The word came out before I could stop it. And instantly, I knew this wasn't just a small decision. Because letting them in was only the beginning. That first night felt normal on the surface. Too normal. But underneath, something was off. Small things didn't add up. Looks. Silence. Half answers. Like there was something they weren't saying. And then, a few nights later, I heard something I wasn't supposed to hear. Something that made one thing clear. They didn't come here just because they were desperate. They came here because of me. It was past midnight when I heard it. Voices. Low. Urgent. Coming from the kitchen. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, at least, that's what I told myself. But something in their tone made it impossible to ignore. So I stepped closer. Quiet. Careful. And then I heard my name. That was enough. We can't keep hiding it from him, his wife whispered. My chest tightened. Hiding what? My dad's voice came next. Tense. Almost defensive. We don't have a choice. No choice. That again. It was becoming a pattern. Not telling him is worse, she said. He deserves to know. Know what? At this point, my heart was pounding so loud I was sure they could hear it. Then came the sentence that changed everything. If we don't tell him soon, it's going to be too late. Too late. For what? I pushed the door open. Harder than I meant to. They both turned instantly. Guilty. Caught. Tell me what? I said. Silence. Again. Always silence. But this time, I wasn't letting it go. What are you hiding from me? My dad rubbed his face, like he was buying time. His wife looked at him, waiting, pushing. He knew this moment was coming. He just didn't want it to be now. But it was. It had to be. Finally, he spoke. It's about your brother. I froze. My what? The word didn't even make sense. I don't have a brother. At least, not one anyone ever told me about. I looked at the kid. The one sleeping down the hall. Then back at him. What are you talking about? He swallowed hard. And for the first time since he showed up, I saw fear. Real fear. The boy, he said slowly. He's not just my son. A pause. Heavy. Painful. He's yours too. Everything inside me stopped. Because whatever I thought this situation was, I was wrong. And what he said next made it so much worse. The boy, he's yours too. The words echoed. Like my brain refused to process them. That doesn't make sense, I said. Explain. My dad exhaled slowly. He's your half-brother, he said. But that's not what I meant. I snapped. Then say what you mean. His wife stepped forward. He needs you. I shook my head. For what? Then she said it. He's sick. Everything went still. What kind of sick? A pause. Too long. It's serious, she said quietly. My eyes drifted toward the hallway, toward his room. What does that have to do with me? They looked at each other. Then my dad said it. You're a match. And just like that, it clicked. No, I said immediately. No way. They moved closer. Desperate now. It's his only chance, she said. I let out a bitter laugh. So that's why you're here? Not to fix anything, but because you need something from me. My dad flinched, but he didn't deny it. We didn't know what else to do, he said. That same line again. Always that line. I stepped closer. You left, built your perfect life, and now it's falling apart. You come back here to use me? Silence. No excuses. No lies. Just truth. And now, the decision was mine. Help them. Or walk away like he did. But what I chose next, no one saw coming. I didn't answer right away. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew whatever came next would define everything. For me. For them. For that kid sleeping down the hall. I walked past them. Slow. Silent. Straight to his door. For a second, I just stood there, staring at the handle. Then I opened it. He was asleep. Peaceful. Like none of this chaos had touched him yet. And that hit me harder than anything else. Because this wasn't his fault. He didn't choose any of this. Not the illness. Not the situation. Not even the father we shared. I stepped closer. And that's when I saw it. A small hospital band still on his wrist. Like a reminder, that time wasn't on his side. I swallowed hard. Then I walked back out. They were both waiting. Tense. Hopeful. Afraid. What do you want in return? I asked. My dad blinked. What? You heard me. I said. If I do this, what do I get? His face fell. Because for the first time, he realized this wasn't about guilt anymore. It was about accountability. I want the truth, I said. All of it. No more lies. No more silence. I stepped closer. And after this, you don't disappear again. His wife nodded quickly. But I wasn't looking at her. I was looking at him. The man who walked away. The man who came back. Only when he needed something. Say it, I told him. His voice shook. I won't leave again. I held his gaze. Long enough to make him feel it. Then, okay. Just one word. And everything changed. Relief flooded their faces. But mine? Mine stayed still. Because this wasn't forgiveness. Not even close. This was a deal. And deals have consequences. Because here's the truth they didn't realize yet. Saving his perfect family wasn't going to fix anything. It was going to expose everything. And some truths? They don't bring people back together. They tear everything apart. So if you think this story ends with a happy reunion, you haven't been paying attention. This is just where it really begins.